So here we are in what will be the last of the videos that we've been doing about building a website using the Kadence theme and Kadence blocks plugin. We've stuck all the way through to using the free tools only. But today in this last session we're going to be looking at some of the utilities that we use when the site is completed. So we're talking about utilities such as for caching, backing up, maintaining, a CDN, those kind of things. Now I'd like to list through a few, and I'm starting at the Closte page simply because this is the platform that many of us have been using. It's the one I use for many of my WordPress sites, and we'll be looking at the back end of some of my sites just simply to show you some of the utilities that I found very, very useful. So we'll log in here in the console, and here we get the number of sites that we have. Now there are a few things about Closte that are very that make it a great platform. Let's just look at the dashboard of a particular site. This site has now gone live. So here's the dashboard, and we can go to the settings and see a few things back here. So we're able to, for example, in security, turn on the denial of service protection and scanning, cloud scanning for security. This is an application firewall that's been enabled. And these things are all, and also SSL is forced on all domains in this particular platform that we're looking at, this site. So that's a great set of utilities there that come with the hosting provider. Other hosting providers also do this. I know SiteGround does and WP Engine. There are very many of them that have this set of utilities, but we're not looking at the whole spectrum today. We're just looking at the ones that many of us have used, and these are the ones that I use. So they come on the whole platform. CDN is also helpful to know. There is a CDN that's enabled. The CDN that comes with this platform is the Google CDN, and so a CDN is a content delivery network, and it means that you have a cached copy of your site held on very many fast servers around the country or around the world, and people in remote places are able to download a cached page that they're requesting from your site, rather than being directed all the way back to the original server and having a page generated from new. That cached page can exist on a content delivery network. This is a great thing to have. The backup is also available here, and you can turn it on, then you can do the automatic daily backup, and then these are incremental backups down through here. So there is a backup done on this platform. I like to have a secondary backup if this platform was to go over. It never has. It's never even blinked in the years I've been using it, but you just never know. I do hold a second backup, and we'll talk about that later on. So they're the settings that come with the platform. If we go back to the dashboard, this is the site we're talking about. Some of these up here can be used to set up FTP, or file transfer protocol, to access all the files on this site. And something like FileZilla is a fantastic utility to use. It's not connected into WordPress. You use it as a separate utility, and it is a file transfer protocol program, and these are the utilities. These are the settings that you're going to need to set up access to the back end of this site. So now let's have a quick look in the site, at the back end, and still maintaining on this particular platform. This is a LiteSpeed server, and therefore there are a few utilities that come with the platform, and they are found here. You just need to install one plugin, and it actually comes installed in when you set up a Closte site, but it's this plugin here that gets installed. It's LiteSpeed Cache. So it's this site here, this plugin here is the one that gets installed, and that allows you to do, gives you option for two things. Up in the settings, you get to turn on the cache. Now, a cache is, it really speeds up your site. They can be quite complex to set up. There are a number of very, very good ones available out there that you would have to buy, but this one comes free with Closte sites, and I think it's fantastic. The other ones that you might look at sometime would be from BunnyNet. That's a great caching platform, and WP Rocket is also a very, very good WordPress cache. There are others, but those are very good. This one is simply turn it on at this point, and we'll go through some of the other settings in a minute. But once you've got it turned on, then we come down to the dashboard. This is the LiteSpeed dashboard, and it's talking about image optimization, page optimization. So this is the dashboard. We've got the cache turned on. As we come down here, there are two sets of optimization that this plugin takes care of. One is the page optimization, and this is really turning on the cache. And in doing the cache, we're just going to have a look at the very, very basic settings. This can be very complex to set up, but let's just look at the quick ones. The first thing it will do will be to minify all the CSS, which just takes the gaps out. This one can combine all the CSS. There are a lot of other settings there you can also do. In the JavaScript, it's the same. I just minify the JavaScript. The HTML settings, I usually minify that, but this site I'm still looking at the source code from the front end. Normally what I would do would be to minify that, which reduces the size. You can then do a lot of pre-fetching of DNS. So if you know that you are going to be connecting to another site like the Google Fonts sites, the Google Analytics sites, all of those, you can pre-fetch the DNS and make a connection faster. Here you can do lazy loading of images, and there's a number of other things that you're able to do in here. Those are really the important ones. There are a lot of other things you can do in the cache, but if you've got those done, you're going to notice the difference. And if we go to then image optimization, once again there are very many image optimizing programs. This one is very good, and it comes free on the LiteSpeed platform. It does the image optimization on the platform, not on your site, and there are settings here to set it on. You really need this to have an auto request, so every time you upload new images into your media library, this will automatically request that they be optimized. The automatic pull cron means that when the images are completely optimized, they will be automatically loaded back down into your media library. We want to optimize the original images. We want to definitely create WebP versions and use the WebP image replacement. So we're going to replace JPEG images with WebP images. So they're the important ones. When we go to Media Library, we'll see here that this image here has been, the original has been optimized 21%, the WebP saved another 27%. So you get very large savings, and WebP is a great looking image to be using. So they're the things that are available here. There's a backup, there's an image optimization, and there's a cache. There's also available in Closte a CDN. So we just need to turn it on. The CDN is enabled. It's as simple as that. Just enable the CDN. Here we're able to turn the CDN on and off. If you are actively working on developing on the site, you want to turn this development mode on. And if you put it into development mode, then it's not serving your site from the CDN. It's serving it directly from the server, which is what you want to see as you're making changes. You don't want to be seeing what's been sitting on the CDN from last time you were working on the site. So these are the important things to do with the CDN. It's really a very simple thing to set up in Closte. Now, moving on to some other ones other utilities that you would use, security is very important, and Closte offers what's called two-factor authentication to your whole platform. So if you turn that on platform-wide, when you log on to Closte, you will have to go through username, password, and then two-factor authentication, and you'll need to have your little code set up, usually on Google Authenticator on an iPhone, and of course there's the equivalent in Android. Now, a couple of other security plugins. There are many levels of security that you can offer or have on your WordPress site. The very simplest and most straightforward one is available here. There's a free version and there's also a paid version. This is the paid site, but the free version works incredibly well. It's WP2FA. It just simply offers two-factor authentication. The site is wp2fa.io, and whenever you log into the site, like by going to the site /wp-admin and going through that login, you will need to go to two-factor authentication, which means, of course, that anybody else wanting to log in as an administrator into your site is going to have to do the same thing. And if they ever do happen to get your username and get your password, they're still not going to be able to get in because they need to get two-factor authentication, which is a 4 or 6-digit code generated on your Google Authenticator app on your phone, or as I say, the Android equivalent. And there are others on iPhone also. But that is probably the best thing you can do security-wise for your site. There are a lot of other things you can do, but that's the simplest and the first, and you really should have it. The other thing you can do is there's a whole suite of security solutions here in Wordfence. Wordfence, and there are others of these too. iThemes has one. There are a number of them, but Wordfence is really the one that is the best known in the WordPress area. And so when you go onto a site, I don't have it on this site, so let me quickly go to a site that does have it. It's on this site here. So when you go into the back of this site, here's Wordfence. Now you can just simply download it like every other one. Go to plugins, type in Wordfence, you'll see it, download it, activate it, and you've got the free version. So this is Wordfence. You are able to do, let's just simply go to the dashboard. So here's the dashboard. The firewall is still really being set up. It's in learning mode. There have been many scans done. You can scan through this site and it will do a scan, will tell you what malware it finds, and it blocks. It's incredibly good at blocking attacks on your site. So the tools, the login security, you can have 2FA. It has its own 2FA here. In fact, on this site, I'm using the 2FA. And the really good thing about the way Wordfence has done it is you're able to generate codes and hold them in your security or your password manager. And if you ever get locked out or lose your phone, then you're able to use these codes to log in. So that's another thing that Wordfence does. The premium version of Wordfence also allows you to block by country. So if you don't want anyone from China or Iran or Jamaica or some other place, Turkey or Russia, logging into your site, you can just totally block everything from that site. So Wordfence, even in the free version, is very, very good. Now, while I can see it here, let's do one more. Spam. So spam going into your contact form and your comments pages. Clean Talk we have talked about a number of times, but this is the one that I really do like. cleantalk.org. Is the site. Here it is. It will cost you, but it only costs you a couple of dollars per year. I think it's about $8 per year, and this is really, really worthwhile. I would totally recommend it. It'll cut down the amount of spam. Firstly, it has a list, a blacklist, and those won't even be able to access your site. And then it's checking the spam in messages, and they won't be able to leave messages. It catches on some sites that I have it on, it catches thousands. So it really is a great utility to have. Now, in the back end of the site we were looking at, another one that I always use is in Tools, Settings, Updraft Plus. So for backups. Now, on the Closte platform, backups are performed every day. But I like to have a separate backup to another site, to another cloud platform, just in case. You honestly can never have too many backups, and you don't really have a backup, a secure, tested backup, until it has been exactly that, tested. So you really need to be able to delete your site and recover it. And when you know you've done that, then you have a secure, tested, proven backup. I know it sounds scary, but it's not as scary as when you lose a site and then you find that it doesn't work. Now, this Updraft Plus, I have a lifetime, unlimited lifetime account here because I use it on so many sites. If you use the free version, it is actually incredibly good. You're able to set it up and set up backups to, if you do settings, you can set it up weekly at a time, and then you can back up the database separately or more often or linked with the rest of the site, and you'll be able to back up to the server, so to the WordPress server where your site is. That's where the backups are held. So you're not going to be able to hold too many because that will fill up and it gets expensive. So what you are able to do is when you go to a backup and come here, let's just take this backup here. That's an initial backup of the new site. If you click on any of these, you are able to download them. So you can download, let's do the database because it doesn't take long. So it goes to the database, it files it, now it's ready to download, you click it, and that is now downloaded to my site. You do the similar through the plugins, the themes, the uploads, and the others, and you then have a backup of your site downloaded to your local computer, which you can then store on your hard drive or a separate USB hard drive where you keep your backups. At that point, you could delete this to be able to maintain space. Now, the really good thing about this is that if you buy the professional version, you're able to back up easily to all of these other devices. Like Dropbox, you can actually buy a separate facility from them to upgrade to their vault. This is a very important one. This is Amazon here. This is Dropbox, Microsoft Azure. There's a whole bunch of these others, the Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. You can back up to an FTP server. So all of these places, I clearly use Microsoft Azure. There it is there, and I set up so that in all the different folders I can have all the backups of this site easily identifiable in that. And it's there safely kept on another platform. So there's backups. So we've done backups, we've done 2FA, we've done now. If you have a number of sites, what you constantly need to do with a WordPress site is keep everything updated. Now, if you've only got one site, that's really quite simple. You just go to the dashboard and go to updates, and it will tell you what needs to be updated. And here it is. So at this point, everything's up to date. The themes are up to date, the plugins are up to date. But if they weren't, you could click there and update them one by one. But that works fine if you've only got one site. If you have this many sites and more pages of them, that can be a very, very boring, very, very time-consuming job to do. And here's a site that I use, and it's able to look at many sites. So here's my login, I sign in. And all of these sites here are all backed up, all maintained on this platform. So you can pick any particular site. So if we just happen to pick any site, we won't pick that one because we know it's up to date. Let's take this one. That's likely to be not up to date. It's now syncing with that site, and it will tell us what needs to be updated on that site. It's fetching the Google Analytics of the site so it can give us a report. Now this, while it's doing that, and so here it is. So on this site there are 6 plugins and no themes, but all of those 6 plugins all need to be updated. So we can just simply select all and update. And even at that point, I can now go on to the next site and do exactly the same. Even better, you're able to look across all of the sites and update in one hit. So what it's doing is connecting, making a connection, and doing the updates by what's called the CLI, WordPress CLI, or Command Line Interface. It just issues a command line, a command that updates, or updates themes, updates the plugins. And the command line is much, much, much faster. And what this platform is doing is really interfacing with the sites using command line interface. So it is very much faster. Now, to set this up on every site, you can add a new site, and you need to firstly download, it will be here on this site. You download a little plugin that connects, and it's called a worker. Here it is here, Manage WP Worker. So if you find, just download that plugin, and you will connect between your website and WP Manage here with the connection manager. You can either put in username and password, or you can use this connection key. And all you do is copy that connection key and then put it in the place where you're about to start the new site. Open a new site here. If you're about to do it, it'll just say how you want to connect, and you put the connection key in, then you're all done. So this site, we are using this in free mode. I don't pay anything for this, but there are a number of things on here that you can pay, and like getting reports, white labeling it. There's a thing called an uptime monitor. If it's critical for you that a site never goes down, you are able to activate the uptime monitor. It will cost you 70 cents a month, but if that's important to you, you update that, and if ever the connection drops, it will send you a message that that site is now not live. You can be notified by email, Slack, or SMS that the website is down. It does a check on performances. It does a very brief check on security. It also does some backups. If you want to back up to another platform, I also back up onto this one, but just once a month. After that, it costs money to do it. So now we're back at the dashboard, and it's still working on doing those plugins. But you are able to check plugins right across all platforms here. So this is a really great tool. And I can recommend it. I actually have this is such a good site to use and a simple site to use. I have my 15-year-old grandson managing all of these sites for me, and he's able to securely go in there and do all the backups. So that's a great. Remember that one, WP, Manage WP. So at this point, I think that's enough. Utilities, that is a good swag of utilities to have, and you will find that you will use those on every site that you do.